What's up everyone, welcome back. In today's video we will talk about cocoa chips and how it can be used. Now guys, I'm not very sure why exactly is the labeling in Russian. It looks like it's mentioned in Russian, but anyways it looks very similar to cocoa peat, because this is also derived from coconut, but this is in a much chunkier form. Now it looks like a brick because it is compacted in order to pack it just like cocoa peat, and in order to use this we will have to first moisten it. Now guys, it can be used for various things, like in order to make your foliage poles, or if you want to make a soilless media. I do not use soilless media, or I do not use it in my poles. So I will be using this for my orchids. It's a very good growing media for our orchids, so you can try it out. I would say this is a cheaper substitute to orchid bark. A lot of people find orchid bark very expensive or it's not readily available. Then you can opt for cocoa chips. It works out similarly. It retains moisture. Again, depending upon your environment and climate, you can use it accordingly. Because I belong to a very dry environment, I have used this before, and within a day my cocoa chips tend to dry out, so I don't have much of an issue. If you are from a very humid environment, then ensure you're using it in a lesser quantity. So let's start the process. As I mentioned, it is going to be in a compact brick. It will increase in volume as and when we start adding water. Now, unlike cocoa peat, we do not need to completely soak it in water. We can just add a little bit of water and it is going to start to fall apart. Otherwise, you can see it is very stiff, very difficult to break it apart. So in order to loosen it, we will have to add in some water. So I'll quickly start putting in some water. Not a lot, a little bit is more than enough, and you do not need to wait for a very long time. Within a couple of minutes it will start to fall apart. If it doesn't, you can just use your hand and start pulling it apart, and you can see it is very easy. The chunks will start to fall apart. So this is how it starts to look, and you'll also notice that the volume will also start to increase. It was a very small piece. And now, as you can see, as I start spreading it, the volume is increasing. There is still a little bit of water, so let it soak in. In a couple of minutes, it is going to be ready. Now, another important thing, if you are making a large batch and you are not able to use all of it, the rest of the cocoa chips, you can just put it out in the sun to dry. Once it's completely dry, then you can pack it and keep it aside, and you can use it again. You do not need to wet it once again. They are going to be loose like this. The reason is because if you are going to store it in a wet form in a closed container, then there is a high chance it might develop mold or fungi. So you do not want that to happen. Anyways, that fungi or mold is not going to be harmful for your plants because this is an organic matter, but it's always better if you want to store it, let it get dry first in the sun, and then you can store it in a dry form. Again, when you're using it, you do not need to wet it. You can straight away use it in your potting soil, or if you're using it for your orchids or for poles. So the whole purpose of wetting the brick for the first time was to loosen it and to make the chunks fall apart. And after that, they are not going to stick together. They are going to be loose like this. So now let me quickly give you an example how you can prepare it for your orchids, because I usually tend to use this only for my orchids. So over here I have some charcoal and some leca. This combination of charcoal, leca and cocoa chips tends to work out really well for orchids. My orchids have been doing quite well. Not the ones that I have mounted, because in that I haven't used any cocoa chips, but in containers that I have put in my orchids, I usually tend to go like this. I fill it up with a little bit of cocoa chips, and then I put the mix of charcoal, leca and cocoa chips. This three combination tends to work out fantastic for orchids, and I've already mentioned my environment is extremely dry, so I tend to use more of the cocoa chip quantity. Again, it depends on your environment and climate. You can reduce or increase as per your requirement. And anyways, our orchid pots need to have a good amount of air circulation, so because these are in chunks, they also help in good air circulation, and the orchid can have a quick drink because the roots are going to absorb that moisture from this cocoa chips. they stay wet for some time, and until then the orchid roots can easily absorb that moisture. I always prefer to dunk my orchid pots into water, not completely, just the media in water. You might have seen it in my previous videos. I just leave it in water for around 15 to 20 minutes, and then I take it out and I hang so that all the excess water can drain out. I mostly grow dendrobium orchids, so it has been a success so far. So I will definitely keep you updated if I'm getting any new orchids. So that's it for today, guys. I hope that you liked this video. If you did, please hit the like button. And if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep planting.